Thank you for joining XROM, which is India's first AR/VR focused podcast. And today, I'm delighted and honored to have with me Mr. Sunder Jagannathan, who's an entrepreneur, product leader, self-taught developer, and designer who's inspired by products, startups, and technology. He's a strong believer in Web 3.0 and Metaverse and has built 3 startups in virtual reality and augmented reality, health tech, and audio tech, and has filed over 12 international patents in the field of AI, data, robotics, and metaverse. So, Sundar, really appreciate you taking time and being part of the podcast. Why don't we start with a small intro and background?
Thanks, Eddie, for inviting me here. So at PropVR, what we essentially do is we kind of create interactive and immersive visualizations for real estate. So we have been in this space for quite some time now, almost 6 years before even the term the metaverse was kind of coined before, right? So we kind of were working on interactive virtual reality technologies and providing visualizations for real estate, but then we kind of transformed into the question of can we make this better in terms of the pipelines, in terms of the delivery schedules and everything. And we have core industry that we have kind of focused on is around real estate because there was a key problem statement to be solved here. So essentially what we do is we help real estate get ready for the real estate metaverse. And we help them during that transition process, create interactive visualizations for them, take out their entire sales and marketing process, and also create inventory modules and transaction modules around that.
Right. I think we jumped a little bit too ahead and got into PropVR. I would like to bring you a little back. When I meant by intro and background, I
Sure.
meant because you've built a couple of
Yes.
virtual reality, augmented reality startups. So it would be
Yes.
nice if you kind of give a little background on what you've been doing, and then and we can take this forward.
Perfect. So personally, how we kind of got into this field was like almost 6 to 7 years ago. We kind of had a feeling that when the first VR headset came in, and that's where we kind of thought like the digital revolution has been kind of moving from the bigger devices like desktops, from desktops, monitors to mobile phones. We kind of had a feeling that if the next digital revolution were to come, it would be something around the wearables, right? So Srinath and I, my co-founder, we kind of decided like if we kind of start early in this sector, there could be a tremendous potential. And this is something that we like kind of doing, work with some cool technology solutions and like mixed reality stuff and all that. But that's where we kind of started. We started with entire creating simple virtual reality solutions. So that's where I started coding with Unity, Unreal, playing around with some existing SDKs, doing some quick modeling, quick AR stuff and all that, working on different use case and solutions. And that's where the story basically began. And yeah, from there we kind of moved to the real estate as a place.
Lovely. How cool is that? I mean, you've invested in virtual reality and you saw the opportunity of this digital transition or digital revolution that we are all on, and this convergence of technology. Now,
Yeah.
obviously, I mean, there are a lot of people who don't really know what this digital transformation is going to do to their personal lives, consumers, or enterprise. And there's metaverse. Obviously, there's so much hype around
Yes.
the word itself. Though it's very ambiguous because there's so many people giving their own representation of metaverse is. Do you have your own representation, or maybe could you define what the metaverse is?
Sure. I think, yeah, a lot of people, like you said, there's a lot of confusion around it, but even though the hype is real. So metaverse is actually for, like, if you talk from a technical perspective, metaverse is basically a new layer of internet that we are all talking about. It's not a single company or a single product in any kind. It's basically a new layer of internet where the interfaces are turning through convergence of multiple technologies. Now, metaverse is definitely not VR, not AR on a specific technology. What we are essentially meaning is that the world is moving. Logically, we all, like as humans, we are evolved to see immerse into content, right? We call that life. So it's like metaverse is like a digital life that we are kind of getting into, where all the interfaces that we are seeing are transforming into 3D on one side. There are convergence of technologies like AI, blockchain, and even the 5G technology, which is playing a key role to stream all these solutions to us in a more seamless way. So in a simple definition, metaverse for us is like a digital life of what we are already living in, but powered by more powerful technologies like AI, blockchain, and 5G kind of technologies.
Thank you for explaining, Sundar. I think we are in such a fantastic point of time, and all these
100%.
technologies which is converging is gonna possibly give that push to maybe make a shift to another interface itself. From
Yes.
carrying technology, like or maybe on mobiles or phone, we'll end up into wearing technology. And
Yes.
yes, I mean the interface itself will possibly, we will break away from the 2D interface and maybe get into the 3D world, where we'll be able to kind of interact, touch, feel the digital world exactly how we experience a physical world.
The physical world.
So now you mentioned about the future of internet. I mean, so I would like to, I mean, if again, if you can explain Web 3.0, and then maybe we can get on to PropVR.
Sure. Yeah. So it's perfect. So talking about the future of internet, right? So we have kind of evolved from how we have gone from Web 1.0, 2.0, and 3.0, right? So 3.0 is all about giving more powers to the end users. So today we are kind of contributing to the internet, but there is no benefit for me as a personal creator if I am one of them, that I get a benefit out of doing this, right? So we have seen this already happening in a lot of places, right? So today the YouTube creators are making more money than even the software developers, right? So essentially, if you just extrapolate the same thing, that's essentially what we are going towards in Web3, where using the blockchain technology, what we are essentially doing is every content and everything that we are putting online, it's like a digital identity that we are leaving, a digital trace that we as a user is putting on the internet, right? So Web 3.0 basically connects these dots as you as a user are getting connected on the internet, and it creates a separate digital identity for you. And these digital identities could be anything. Like you could be anyone on the internet, you could have multiple identities, but it's connected to you on a specific level where it is basically giving you power on the creator economy.
Right. Yeah. The creator economy, I think, is going to open up and upend, I think, the content creation and the consumption journey. You rightfully pointed out that so far the Web 2 model has been something which has always juiced out the creators, and all the goodies or all the economical benefits were taken away by the Web 2 world. Yeah. But right now, I think that there's going to be a shift, and the Web through the content creators are going to be more empowered, and they are the ones who are going to be building out the future of the internet. So it's an exciting space for everyone, even the ones who are listening. I mean, if you kind of buckle up, take in knowledge, there's so much that you can do. You can also participate in the journey. Now, PropVR is specifically focusing with the real estate problem. What is the problem in the real estate business, and how is PropVR solving that?
Yeah, good question. So in terms of how real estate operates today, right? So let's take a step back and look at how traditional real estate operates. So real estate being a visual product in itself, right? So today, how users generally interact in this traditional industries, from a developer perspective, they create these 3D models or architects basically create these CAD drawings from which there are some renders or walkthrough videos and these kind of static content that is created. So these are all basically powering the Web 2.0 content to a great extent, where there is some kind of thing that I'm seeing, but I don't know how that looks in real life. So the problem for the consumers on the other side is that when they are seeing this, it's not still convincing. I would have to still go and visit multiple projects. So house hunting problem, have we clearly solved it today? I would say still no, because there is still a lot of gaps from a consumer perspective in shortlisting a specific house, viewing that house, and going into that space and converting that, right? So this time-consuming and also a very inefficient process when it comes to real estate 3D content being created. We are trying to optimize that using the latest technologies in a way where the real estate can also benefit out of it by being future ready. So essentially what PropVR does is we work with real estate developers and say, hey, you know what? We understand that you need renders, walkthrough videos and all that, but essentially creating 3D content from a single frame of mind will not solve or make you ready for the future of what we are going towards. Let's try and do this. Can we efficiently create your entire digital twin of your project in an extent where you can literally go around into every single feature of that building and give a very high quality visualizations for your users, where that transparency gap of what you would be building and what the users would be getting can be minimized to an extent where the users' decision makings are much faster and they also have a better kind of experience on an overall scale.
Right. Sundar, you mentioned that you're solving the 3D content problem for, house hunting. House hunting obviously is a huge problem. And so far, I think there have been various startups who have used various from CAD to, augmented reality to virtual reality walkthroughs, to 2D content. And now you're saying, so maybe just stick over there with the virtual reality content. What are the challenges over there? Because when you create content, the drawbacks are that these headsets are still too very expensive. So how are you solving that? And maybe elaborate on digital twins. What do you mean by digital twins, and how you are enabling that?
Yeah. So talking about your first question, right? Solving what are the major challenges if you look at it. Devices is definitely a challenge. So our stories, like when we started, we kind of were focused only on a VR headset. But you have to know that there's a transition that is happening around the hardware world. So if you follow the space, like if you see how the hardwares have evolved, the first versions have been quite bulky with wires and all going around. And we are now going into a phase where you're seeing more lighter and lighter VR headsets coming in, right? So essentially, we are going towards that direction, and we understand this transition is not like you can't force VR on people today, or you can't force a specific technology on people. So how we have been building our content and the way we have mitigated around this is whenever we build a content on a digital stream, the content can be in one pipeline. Can we focus and create that content in such a way that it can be deployed into any channel? Like whether it's a VR headset you're using, you can use it. Whether you are using a desktop or a touchscreen, you can still use it. Whether in your existing versions, like a mobile tablet, there is still a version that can be taken from the same digital content, right? So VR is not the focus. Yes, VR solves a great level of immersion problem, but still you can't, like there are a lot of users, even if we install VR headset in some of the real estate demos, there are customers who would say, hey, you know what, can you just tell me? I don't want to wear this because I feel dizzy. The world is still not there yet, and we understand that. So we are giving that space for the users to decide whether they want it in VR headset or whether in touchscreen. You can still have that visual feeling of going into a particular property in immersion, right?
Right.
And
digital twins.
Digital twins, yeah. So talking about your second question, right? So digital twins is something that I think a lot of your listeners also should be aware of how the world is going towards. So digital twin is nothing but basically a complete digital replica of something in your real world. Now it could be anything. Real estate is obviously in just extrapolating that information. Real estate is like before even building is built or whatever the building is in real time, can you create a complete digital replica of it in such a way that you can even map multiple data layers on it. Like, for example, if the building has IoT sensors, can you map all the IoT sensors of the building on the digital twin and help you visualize that, right? So the use cases of digital twins are immense. Like every industry has its own use case. Like in healthcare, you have a digital replica of your body. So instead of your 2D scans that we use today for hearts and everything, can you have a digital replica of your body where your heart and all this can be shown? Same for automotive and all the other industries.
Super awesome, because I think in the next couple of maybe this decade and by the next decade, I think we'll be sensorizing the entire world, and the data that we gather, whether it's like you said, whether it's for healthcare, automobiles, or how you leveraging it for real estate, could completely define how we do marketing and sales and everything.
Correct.
Just to elaborate and simplify this further, could you maybe give reference on some use cases, the case study, that you have built for real estate with digital twins?
Superb. So I think how we are transforming the entire search. So let's take search and discovery, because finding house hunting, that problem is still the problem that how we are trying to solve. So the house hunting problem on the 3D landscape, or how the Web3 landscape would look like, right? So today you're looking at house hunting in a 2D interface where you're seeing a bunch of listings, you're clicking on them, you're seeing the information. It's still read-write kind of an information, right? sorry, one second. So how we kind of imagine the house hunting problem being solved by 3D is essentially that imagine the entire world is created on a digital twin. There's a replica of the world because you are seeing every single building that has a digital twin of its in a digital version. Now that you have this information, can I sit at home and similar to how I order on Amazon where I'm exploring products, can I go into any single building that I want in real time and see how that building looks like go into that building, walk into that building as an avatar, see different floors, see how the interiors look like, customize those interiors, send an order from there to the developer, telling that this how I wish my house was, connect different vendor networks to the same story and interface. That's the storyboard that we are going towards, right? So the user sits on a bright morning one day and decides, okay, let's me go to this platform, click on Dubai, for example, the one which we have right now created. Click on Dubai, for example, search on downtown Dubai, and you have the entire downtown Dubai in their 3D digital twin. And I can select a specific building, click on that building, and go into that building and see every single floor, every single detail, and understand what the listing is all about, right? So saves a huge amount of effort from a customer, like literally going and seeing these properties, shortlisting them. Like out of 10 properties, I would have shortlisted one or two where I would physically now want to go and see that, right? So that's the interface that we're trying to build.
Lovely. How cool is that? You're saying that you've built the virtual version of Dubai downtown. You're integrating it with sensors, and for real estate, you can see the opportunity is humongous. I mean, there could be so many integrations over there. Now, tell me about the challenges of building this PropVR, because with the metaverse, building out metaverse, there's a huge rush and hype around metaverse. So I think everybody is jumping into the bandwagon and people are building their own platforms. If there are listeners who would want to build out platforms, what has been the challenging? What's the hiring thing? And maybe you can talk about building your platform.
Yeah, sure. So I think talent is definitely one of the big challenges because this space is currently getting evolved. I think it's the decade gap is what I call it. Like previous decade, we were all focused on building software products, and suddenly now we have a lot of software talent, right? So now that we are getting into the metaverse period, there will be a lot of 3D talent that is coming out, and there's going to be a huge rush. Today already there is a huge rush in finding this good quality 3D resource who have a combination of 3D as well as a combination of software, right? Because this blend is where you can make real things happen in the metaverse. Talent, other than talent, I think it's also one level of infrastructure problem, which I think is getting very much solved with the 5G and all this coming up. But because you're talking about 3D content, these are not like lightweight content which can be streamed easily. You need this very high-end infrastructure set up on the cloud as well as on the internet speeds, so that people can stream 1 Gbps or 2 Gbps speed very easily, and these content can be streamed. I think these are core challenges that we are working on. And on the other side, on the mitigation side, I think AI is playing a massive role in making this all with a great speed. Like if you had seen the progress of DALI and all the other tools that have been coming up from Stable Diffusion and all that, there is a huge rush of how the content can be generated on a massive scale in a shorter time. So time is essentially getting compressed, and how we kind of generate content from using AI technology has been something that at PropVR also we have quite aggressively worked on, because when you're talking about creating digital twins of the world, it cannot be manual. Like it's very difficult to kind of create a manual process around it.
So you mentioned about the convergence of technologies, 5G, the infrastructure layer, making it more smoother, and possibly in the next a couple of few years when 5G and everything goes mainstream, it'll become more accessible to view these and experience this content. You also spoke about artificial intelligence, and you mentioned DALL-E and Stable Diffusion. How do you see that panning out? What does that do to maybe the content creation, the pipeline? Besides the content creation pipeline, I mean, simplifying it, what does it do to the copyright industry? What does it do to the creative industry? What would be your thoughts over there? I mean, because there are so many exceptional things happening. There's Promethean AI, which is allowing you to do world building. There's Stable Diffusion, which does text to images. There's there are people who are doing text to 3D. What does it do? What's the impact of this?
I think a good question. I think on the copyright and all that, there's definitely a huge legal jumbo mumbo that might be happening because you do not know who owns the IP, right? Whether it's the company that created the AI in the first place, whether it's my prompt that created the AI content in the first place, or whether it's AI who created the content in the first place, right? So there are multiple stakeholders already in the IP game. But I think the entire future of IP and how things are evolving, it's definitely a collaborative game, right? So we can't say that AI would completely replace the creators, or creators would always have this battle. But I think I have seen a tremendously good amount of work being done on this collaboration field, where people have collaborated with AI to enhance their content creation and take it to the next level. So there are absolutely brilliant content being developed, like people who were developing regular content, now they have started using AI and try to create more content with higher speed, better efficiency, and better quality. Before it was like they had to hire like a team of 10-15 people to kind of do that. Now they are able to do more, think more, and think more creatively. I think this essentially would play the bottom line role of creating the creator economy in the first place, because the question is, why can't you be a creator today? If you ask an individual, why can't you be a creator? He might say, hey, you know what, I don't have the digital skills, or I don't know how to do a Photoshop. All that questions is gone now with AI. If you can just tell what you want and AI can do it, you can be creative in your own way, and you can itself become a creator in the entire ball game of the creative economy, right?
Right. Yeah. So exciting space as well as scary, because it's the entire creator economy. What's going to enable is these tools, which is going to help these creators who are not even artists, not even musicians, not designers, for possibly just type in and you'll have your product. So it like you said, it's that man machine partnership which we need to leverage, because even building a basic like a design tool, it would take a team or a couple of days. Here you just put in the prompts, and there you go, voila, you have the output there. So and it's not just I think the creative industry, we have text to code, and there's AI robotics creating automation over there, across the industries, and so exciting as well as scary space, because how humanity, society kind of deals with this is like a question mark. Now for those real estate or companies out there listening, and if they would want to reach out to, where best can they reach out to you?
So you can definitely reach out to me on LinkedIn at Sunder Jagannathan, or you can write to us at info@propvr.ai. Happy to kind of take them through a demo.
Lovely. Sundar, really appreciate you taking time and being part of the podcast. If you had to kind of paint a picture of how Metaverse, and especially since you're vested in the real estate business, how is that going to transform the real estate industry? What would you have to say?
I think definitely this would transform the way we kind of shop real estate or invest in real estate. Real estate as an asset itself is becoming like the question that we have been asking is, why can't it can be like a stock tradable kind of asset? The question we are going towards with all those technologies and converging VR into real estate is that, can we have a world where the entire real estate search and discovery could be in 3D, as well as have the connected mechanism of the different stakeholders of real estate, having a community in that, having a digital community of real estate, and also drive investments and trade through this. That's the future that we're looking at.
Lovely. Yeah, I think it's looking so awesome. I mean, it's just that obviously the real estate understands that the future that we're building needs to be sustainable, leverage 3D printing and so on and so forth. I think and it's not just the physical estate. It's the virtual world that we are building. So it's really a time of opportunity, and I think people should kind of leverage these new technologies, understand it, and leverage it for creating a better future future. Thank you once again, Sundar, for taking time and being part of the podcast. And to my listeners, if you like what you see in here, then please press the subscribe button. And until next time, see you guys. Bye-bye. Thank you. Thank you, Sundar. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.